Hello everyone, this is a Wayne episode review for episode 5, otherwise known as Some Kind of Tap Dancing Beekeeping WHALER. I know, this show has very weird titles. Anyways, this episode immediately follows up on last episode with Wendell and his whole introduction, and Nancy guarding the door, but at the last minute of that episode, the door opened and a man walked out, and he's basically the center of this entire episode. Everyone wants a piece of him. Ollie and Sarahline were doing something else at the time, with Sarahline really wanting a new location for their stuff, because their old place, or at least what they have right now, is too crowded, or at least it's too messy, and Sarahline's like, man, screw this, we need to get a new place entirely, just to put our stuff at least. But they get a call from Nancy telling them about this guy who, walked out of the door that he was supposed to be guarding, and they have no idea what he is when they meet up with him. Neither does the guy himself, because he has amnesia. He has green skin, insane accuracy, is super strong, very agile, glows in the dark, and his skin caught on fire while he was outside with the sun out. He's something else. Nancy and Ollie take him around the Wayne to help get his memory back, while Sarahline tries to clean up the room to see if that could also help him. They go into this room known as the collection room. It's a room with just a bunch of stuff in it, and the room has spoons in it, and the green man gets scared of the spoons, and knowing from last episode and all of the other symptoms, the only possible thing that this guy might be is a vampire. And perfect timing, because Wendell is back from last episode telling Nancy to have a spoon with him at all times to call for Wendell for vampire activities and stuff like that. And since Nancy now knows where a vampire is, he teams up with Wendell to track and take down this vampire. Mostly because the man freaked out because of all the spoons in the collection room and ran away with Ollie, and Nancy's really worried for Ollie. So he's like, I gotta go save my best friend and stuff. So it pretty much becomes a chase for the vampire. Sarahline eventually slows down the chase by saying to Nancy, just because he's a vampire, it doesn't mean he's evil naturally, or he has evil intentions. That's just not how Team Timbers operates. We don't jump to conclusions. We investigate. We don't just take action immediately. So Nancy feels a bit sorry for that, and he now wants to stop Wendell from doing harm to the vampire. They all end up back in the collection room, and one of the big cases falls over and almost lands on Nancy and Ollie, but the green man saved them. And Nancy really believed that he's not evil now. That just pretty much proved everything to him. So after all that, they go back to the apartment where they met the vampire, but it didn't really help too much because Wendell knows where that apartment is. But luckily, they have something on them that Ollie used more or less as a running gag in the beginning of the episode, and that's a camera that wipes a memory from 30 minutes ago. Sarahline used it on Wendell, and Wendell forgets about the whole vampire thing. And after all of that, the vampire still doesn't really know who he is. Throughout the whole episode, Ollie was humming this tune, and the vampire kept saying it sounded familiar. Luckily for him, Sarahline found a music box that played the whole tune that he was remembering, and the vampire remembered the words to it, and the name was in the lyrics, and the name was his. Andre. The vampire's name is Andre. And the last thing that happened was, because of the music box, it opened this secret back door or something like that within the apartment. And it's just like what Sarahline wanted throughout this episode, just a new hideout, basically a place to put all of her stuff, and Andre offered the spot for them because, they went through all that trouble getting his memory back and things like that. It's the least he could do. So yeah, really fun episode of seeing this new character, Andre. He's a really cool guy and stuff like that. I wouldn't say that he's one of my favorite characters. Well, maybe. He's pretty cool. Maybe if we have another episode of him, he'll probably be one of my favorites. And I know that he's now probably the greatest ally to Team Timbers if they get into any sort of trouble now. He's probably the strongest thing that they have. He's an entire vampire. His only weakness is going outside, mostly during the day. So everything else, he's pretty good. Well, then again, there's spoons, and hopefully Wendell doesn't catch him or catch on that he's a vampire again, because that'll just go into a whole other thing. So they gotta avoid outside, basically, and Wendell. Now that I'm saying this, he's not as strong as I thought he was, actually. And spoons. So, yeah, he's kind of really nerfed. He's a really, really nerfed and weak vampire, but yeah, whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have any questions, comments, concerns, or any other discussion topics you guys want me to talk about. I'll try to answer them the best I can. Want to draw any fan for the channel would be greatly appreciated. Email and Twitter in the description below. Support me on my Patreon if you want to. That'll also be very friendly of you. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else you know to do. Bye.